I'm Josh Klein.
And I'm Elise Hugh.
We host a podcast from Accenture called Built for Change.
Every part of every business is being reinvented right now. That means companies are facing brand new pressures to use fast evolving technologies and address shifting consumer expectations.
But with big changes come even bigger opportunities. We've talked with leaders from every corner of the business world to learn how they're harnessing change to totally reinvent their companies.
And how you can do it too.
Subscribe to Built for Change now so you don't miss an episode.
And here's your prescription.
I know just the pharmacy to get this filled.
Who are you?
A pharmacy benefit manager. A middleman your insurer uses to decide which medicines you can get, what you pay, and sometimes even which pharmacy you should go to.
Why can't I go to a pharmacy in my neighborhood?
Because I make more money when you go to a pharmacy I own.
No one should stand between you and your medicine. Visit phrma.org/middleman to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2469. Should I pay off my mortgage early? By Rich of richonmoney.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Today, I'm featuring a new author for the show. I'll tell you about Rich after the reading. So for now, let's get right to it and continue optimizing your life. Should I pay off my mortgage early? By Rich of richonmoney.com. Should I pay off my mortgage early? Here's my take on both sides of the argument. Reasons not to pay off a mortgage are it's an inflation hedge, you can write off the interest, maintaining liquidity is important, and the money would be better off invested in higher yielding opportunities. Good reasons to pay off a mortgage include peace of mind and primary residence equity having special protection from creditors and bankruptcy in many states. Poor but often cited reasons to pay off the mortgage are decreasing expenses and gain a risk-free return equal to the interest rate. I rushed through listing these answers. More details to come. Before you pay off a mortgage early, we'll assume you have an emergency fund, your high-interest debt like credit cards is paid off, and you're fully maxing out all retirement savings account opportunities. This means you're contributing the max to your IRA, your spouse's IRA if you have one, and your 401k, TSP, or equivalent vehicle. You should not bother paying off a mortgage if you have not done these basic things first. In the end, I'm partial to keeping the mortgage. I feel like the evidence is strongly stacked against keeping it. It's a little ironic because I paid off my primary residence in 6.5 years. I also have 20 paid off single family homes. Yeah, that's a little psycho. This certainly qualifies me, however, to make a fair judgment on the subject. Since I'm partial to keeping the mortgage, I'll explore the pros of keeping the mortgage first. Keeping the mortgage. Number 1, a long-term fixed-rate mortgage is an inflation hedge. If you rent the same property for 30 years, what are your chances your rent will stay the same as it was the first year? No chance. With a mortgage, you lock in that payment and it stays the same, while rent and the price of everything around you rises with inflation. This is how mortgages are an inflation hedge. Number 2, you can write off the interest. When you carry a mortgage loan on a property, not only do you get a very low interest rate, at least these days, but you can write off the interest if you're able to itemize your deductions. Number 3, liquidity. One of the big problems with having all of your money tied up in a house is that it's not a liquid asset at all. That means you cannot get money out of it quickly when you need it. The main way to get your money out of a property is to sell it. From beginning to end, that can take months. It also has high transaction costs. By instead putting your money in other investments like stocks, bonds, or mutual funds, the money can be quickly converted to cash should that need arise. And number 4, invest the money. Opportunity cost. The opportunity cost of paying off your mortgage versus your options is just too high. Paying off the mortgage saves you the interest rate. That's nowhere near what you can make if you invest in the S&P 500 or a similar index fund long term. I invest in real estate. My investments do better than index funds. I'd choose between the stock market or real estate before I'd pay off a mortgage again. Pay off your mortgage early. Here are the arguments for paying it off. The first two I'm not huge fans of. They're often cited arguments, but they don't hold water. Number one, paying it off decreases your expenses. The argument here is by paying off your mortgage, you have less expenses. This may be true, but it's extremely simplified thinking and shows a lack of understanding of the power of compound interest and investing over the long term. If you would have taken the money that you used to pay off your mortgage and put it either in index funds or in good real estate investments, you would more than likely have a substantial sum of money. Eliminating a mortgage would pale in comparison to what you could do with your newfound wealth. It could allow you to travel, visit friends, donate to charities, etc. Number two, gain a risk-free return. Again, I'm not a fan of this particular argument. The argument goes, by paying your mortgage, you guarantee yourself a savings of the amount of the interest rate on the loan. That may be true, but at what opportunity cost? How much money could you have made investing the money elsewhere over the long term? Don't forget about the magic of compound interest and the magic of leverage and tax benefits of investment real estate. The next three are definitely better advantages of paying off a mortgage early that I can agree with. Number three, equity gets special protection for bankruptcy. Sometimes this is called a homestead exemption, and it exists in some but not all states. This is designed to protect the equity in your home should you file for bankruptcy. It protects creditors from taking the equity in your home away from you in a bankruptcy proceeding. Home equity can also be excluded from consideration in certain circumstances where you're attempting to qualify for Medicaid for long-term care or for other situations. Your other assets would be counted against you. Number four, peace of mind. Peace of mind is arguably the most important reason for someone to pay off a mortgage. It's the reason I paid off my mortgage, and also the reason I bought my investment properties in cash. But at what cost? I can speak for my case. It's quite likely that I could be wealthier had I purchased far more property using leverage instead of the 20 I purchased with cash. But that's probably an unfair argument. It's easy to look at the past and say you should have done something. If the market would have tanked, I would have felt like a genius for paying in cash. My point is, my regret is because I now know the outcome of my decision to be conservative. And number five, most people aren't getting the tax write-off. While it's true you can write off the mortgage interest tax, this will end up not being available to most taxpayers. Under the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, signed by President Trump, the amount for the standard deduction almost doubled. This means you need a lot more to write off before you can itemize your deductions. The typical homeowner just won't be able to. The tax does apply to second homes and vacation homes, so this may be a little easier for the wealthy to take advantage of. So there it is. If peace of mind is important to you, then the financial reasons that make it obvious not to pay off your mortgage early don't matter. I used to think it was awesome to have everything paid off. As time progresses, I wonder why I didn't use more leverage, much more leverage, to responsibly invest in real estate. The question of should you pay off your mortgage ultimately goes to what's important to you. Peace of mind? Build wealth quickly? Something in between? What do you think? You just listened to the post titled, "Should I Pay Off My Mortgage Early?" by Rich of richonmoney.com.
I'm Josh Klein.
And I'm Elise Hugh.
We host a podcast from Accenture called Built for Change.
Every part of every business is being reinvented right now. That means companies are facing brand new pressures to use fast evolving technologies and address shifting consumer expectations.
But with big changes come even bigger opportunities. We've talked with leaders from every corner of the business world to learn how they're harnessing change to totally reinvent their companies.
And how you can do it too.
Subscribe to Built for Change now so you don't miss an episode.
And here's your prescription.
I know just the pharmacy to get this filled.
Who are you?
A pharmacy benefit manager. A middleman your insurer uses to decide which medicines you can get, what you pay, and sometimes even which pharmacy you should go to.
Why can't I go to a pharmacy in my neighborhood?
Because I make more money when you go to a pharmacy I own.
No one should stand between you and your medicine. Visit phrma.org/middleman to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
Thank you to Rich, our newest author, to join the show. Rich is from Montgomery, Alabama. He buys rental properties in cash, fixes them up, rents them out to local families, and manages the properties himself. He's been doing this for the past 20 years. He now owns 30 units with 20 single-family homes paid off. And he didn't have an easy start. While serving in the military, he paid off $32,000 in student loans in a year, paid off a $280,000 mortgage in 6 years, flipped several houses in Washington, D.C. to help build income for real estate investing, purchased 20 rental properties with cash, and set up systems to do all of this while serving overseas. Come by richonmoney.com for a lot more, and thank you to Rich for letting us share his work. The classic dilemma: invest or tackle that mortgage. It's a debate that never gets old because it highlights a key point of tension around money decisions. Sometimes the most optimal choice doesn't come with the emotional benefit we want. If your mortgage interest rate is dancing below the 5% mark, going all in on investments might make more financial sense. Your money could potentially grow faster in the market than what you'd save on interest by paying down your mortgage quickly. But that's not really why I've decided to not pay off my mortgage early. For me, it's more because I don't want too much of my net worth trapped in a tangible asset. I prefer the liquidity of investing in the stock market. I think the peace of mind of not having a mortgage is highly relevant, but it doesn't really apply to me because I bought a house well below my means. My mortgage is only $600 per month, so it doesn't feel like a financial hardship, especially because I don't have any other debt. And that should do it for another edition of Optimal Finance Daily. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the Wednesday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.